South African partners, years and years. You know, when we were trying to come into Nigeria with the Lancet Laboratory brand, you know, because I was a business specialist when Lancet was coming to Nigeria as one of the big laboratories and things like that. But I know that there's a difference between South African entrepreneurs and Nigerians. Most times, Nigerians want to, with all due respect, eat it all almost immediately. But with South African brand, they reinvest back, they plow back. And I think that was the reason at that time that a lot of South African businesses were doing better than the Nigerian businesses. You know, I think that was very important to understand that. And I think that's also part of it. You know, every young doctor coming out of medical school, you know, you realize that, okay, doctors feel that, okay, I'm coming out of medical school, I've done a lot, let me splurge and things like that. The next thing is every doctor wants to buy a car. I remember that was the old thing when we were all coming out of medical school. Every doctor wants to buy a car. You know, not knowing that the car you want to buy is a liability and things like that. How about think about, okay, can I invest in myself? Okay, what's the next stage for me and things like that. So I think people need to understand that the immediate self-gratification and the delayed gratification, it's very important for you, you know. And this can make or mar your journey.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the journey to some, it's a slow journey because, like I said, there was a lot of delayed gratifications. We grew organically, you know, and obviously, I mean, it has its drawback.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at it, maybe we would have gone faster than.
So let me come in there. Yeah, so maybe you're a bit, let's say, comparatively, you may look like maybe you're slower. But it's organically, and some people may be aggressive with it. You know, but you know, you can see no debts. You know, and you're growing and things. So I think it's a model that's working well for you. If you feel it gets to a stage where you need to be more aggressive with it, then fine. Everybody looks at your books, you know, and say that this is a fantastic business, and people come to invest in it. And you know, so I think that's
basically that's what we've done. We've grown organically with every profit and everything because we've decided on scaling by location. So then I've had more time, like you said, for quality critical thinking. Because once you are immersed in the business, and you are immersed in your medical practice, you don't have time.
You won't even see things outside. You're like a candle. You know, you see, you light up everywhere, you do everything, but you don't see beneath yourself. So, and I think that's the problem.
So I have a lot of time for critical thinking, quality time for critical thinking. Like I said, all the branches they're running on their own. I've bought myself freedom to do other things that interest me, my other passions. And that's where the other passions came in.
And the other passions include the media entrepreneurship. Can you tell us about that? You know, so so what's your journey with being the radio doctor? You know, like I'm the business doctor, you've been the radio doctor. So what's your journey? Like, you know, a medical doctor, you know, into media entrepreneurship, into broadcasting. So tell us about that.
So there's a story behind the broadcasting journey, truthfully. My father was a broadcaster. The old Western region, WNTV, WNBS. You know, he's a broadcaster. I grew up in a broadcasting environment. Short of the fact that I went to do medicine, I see broadcasting as I grew up with it. Let me just put it that way. And then I deal with women. I'm a gynecologist. I'm very concerned about everything, the totality of a woman. I'm talking about. Not talking about their health anymore now. I'm talking about the totality.
The totality. And as a business person, I know in medicine, anything about women sells. Let me just chip that hand. Maybe that's another reason. Anything about women sells. Ops and gynae in Nigeria sells. So really, you're not wrong.
So when after all said and done, when like I said, my medical practice was on a steady growth. I was comfortable with the way it was growing and scaling. Then I had time to think about my other passion, and broadcasting came to the fore. And the question for me, I just don't want to have a radio station. There are many radio stations around all over. So what kept coming to my mind is, let's have what word will I use? A specific type of radio station.
So you were looking at a niche market.
Niche market.
And I think that's also important. You were not just, you want to differentiate yourself. That's a strategy in business. You wanted to differentiate, not just what everybody does. So I think people need to understand that too. Create a niche for yourself. Look at a niche market, and you can play very well in that area. And I think you've been able to do that.
So so we set up, myself and my sister, basically. She's a broadcaster in the UK. So I sold her the idea. She came back home. So we applied for the license for a thematic radio station, niche radio station called Women Radio.
Women Radio.
That's the name of the that's the name of the radio, WFM. And we call it WFM 91.7. A lot of people call it the Women Radio. You know. So at a stroke, I achieved two things. The first thing was I'm still in my women's space as a gynecologist. So a lot of the programs are women-centric.
Women-centered.
And then women-centered, And at the same time, because I'm very interested in health education. I write books on women and things like that. So that's where the radio, one of the programs that we put on the Women Radio, it's called the Radio Doctor. I created the program, the Radio Doctor. It's a form of CSR. So basically what the Radio Doctor does is we get specialists. We divide the days into 5, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So on Monday we call it Children's Day, or Children's Health. So we get a pediatrician, talk about the topic, and people phone in and gives advice.
Fantastic.
Tuesday is the women health. Wednesday is family. Thursday, if I remember well now, we picked another topic. Then we have the adolescent health and things like that. Specific specialist doctors, come in and
share knowledge, share ideas.
And then people phone in and they give advice and the rest. So it's a form of CSR. But because I created the program, I specifically wanted it to be known as the Radio Doctor. So it's a doctor on air. Well, you said there's a similar one, doctor on air, but this one is the Radio Doctor. Now, because I was the creator, I was very involved in it initially. On every Tuesday, I'm there talking about women's health. People call in, I give advice. So people started calling me the Radio Doctor.
Wow.
So that's how
the name
stuck. Exactly. Because I created the program. The Women Radio does a lot of other things. Radio Doctor is just one program,
one part of it.
So we are very involved in women issues.
I'm happy to hear this because just as we said, it's the fact that you've been able to push your first business to a particular level where it's self-sustaining on its own. Now gives you that time for you to follow other passions, and your other passion does a lot to now educate people in the community, and I think that's very important. It's part of what I do. We're looking at how we can educate the younger generation of doctors. So it's important that we give back to the community so that people are well informed, so that people know better. And I think that's what you are achieving with that. And I think that's laudable. So that's very good.
So every other interest flows from the healthcare business, the hospital, because it's now self-sustaining, it's well run, the systems are in place. It could be better.
Everything can be better.
The people, the hires, the right set skilled people, it can be better. So we're still working on it. So we believe we've got a brand and a business model that is easily scalable, and that's why we can open. Like I said, we can open Akomojo, and 6 months later we're going to be opening Testac, and still organically funded. Now, the question now comes to Dr. Okewale is not getting younger. These are things I'm enjoying. I'm doing. I've got my freedom. I work at the time I want to work. I have time for the family. I
travel the world.
I do the holidays, and I know that the business is ongoing.
Well.
So the question is, what next? What next? So which brings me to the next stage, the succession planning.
Fantastic.
So I've already started thinking about that. the longevity of the brand.
And this is the problem that we doctors also have, as I said. You know, back in the days, I won't say now, things are getting better. Like you're already thinking about it. You know, a lot of businesses, healthcare businesses, they've actually gone down the drain because there was no succession plan. And you know, for any business, you have to think about business continuity. You have to think about succession planning, because if not, what happens? You know, I don't say too much right now. We know that there are some businesses where the owner dies and the business almost dies immediately with it. And we also know that, you know, there are some businesses where the owner is, you know, anything happens and the business continues things. And I think that's where we talk about legacy and things like that. So this is a very good one that, you know, you are looking at how, you know, you are going to be around. Definitely, we know that. But, you know, even you can be giving your time and the business goes on. You can even venture into other areas, which you're already doing, and the business goes on. And this is how every healthcare practitioner should think, because this is how you can actually push your practice to the next level and to everyone. You know, you don't remain a shop forever. You don't remain a single branch forever. So that, you know, you can, because one of the greatest problems for Nigerians is accessibility to care. If you remain a single shop, people are still not going to get your expertise. But when you grow from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get to Abuja, get to Port Harcourt, get to Kano, then your expertise can be felt by people in that area. So this is important. So we need to be able to run healthcare practice as a business. I tell people, we need to, healthcare is a business. Medicine is a practice. You know, you study medicine in school, but right now you are in the healthcare market. The healthcare market goes beyond doctors. The healthcare market, the healthcare industry includes nurses, scientists, radiographers, doctors, and everybody. So you are in the healthcare market. The healthcare market is a business. It needs to be sustainable. It needs to be able to grow so that everybody can feel it and see it. You need to be able to run it as a business. What I mean by as a business is that you're going to invest resources. You need to be able to get value out of it all the time, but value needs to come out of it and things like that. So I think people need to be able to get that, and which is what you're doing.
So I'm at that stage now. Like I said, we've grown organically. I've done all. Basically, the way I'm thinking now is, now the model I've taken, is it sustainable for the next 10 years? Growing organically, we've done well. I mean, have 5 branches. I think we've done well without borrowing a penny and the rest. But the question is succession planning, and the next question is longevity of the brand. Innovation.
Because when you get to beyond in the business life cycle, beyond the growth phase, now you get to the plateau phase. That's maturity. Your business is getting matured, but you now need to think about how do I go? Because after maturity, decline is the next phase.
Exactly.
The reason why some business don't decline is because they now innovate. So that is where you are right now. How do I innovate so that the business continues to grow? Disney is a business that is there for over 100 years. Why is it still existing? Because Disney continually innovates. Over 100 years, Disney innovates, and I think that's a stage that requires a lot of critical thinking, and you now take the next step. How do I do it? Because a business that fails to innovate declines.
So that's the stage we are presently, and we know, deep at the back of my mind, I know that now we've got to a stage where other people might have to come in for the next big blow.
You're giving that to the general public. Let's leave that.
But I will just leave that as it is. Okay. I'm taking advices here and there on what not, you know. So basically, that's where we are.
Fantastic.
So, like I said, we are steady, truthfully, debt-free. We are always thinking what next. We look at the map of Lagos basically and say, okay, we are in Etiosa local government, we are in Ikeja, we are in Alimosho, now we are going to be in Amuwo. In Lagos, I think we've relatively done well.
How about Abuja?
Exactly. So
how
now
about the seat of power?
Exactly.
How about Port Harcourt?
Thank you. So we are now feeling confident to
let people experience, you know, the value you brought out. You know, coming back to the country to invest your time and things like that. So, and it's part of the reasons why we tell the younger generation it's not only about, you know, Japa and things like that. You know, we can succeed in Nigeria. All we need to do is just, you know, acquire the right skills, the right knowledge, and things like that. Do the right things. We know that things are a bit difficult right now. You know, the terrain is difficult. For any business person, it is difficult. That's the truth. But at the same time, we have doctors like you that are doing very well, and there are a whole lot of them also doing well out there, you know, because you know they try to develop themselves, they try to acquire the right skill, they open themselves to learning. And I think that's what a lot of doctors need to do. Doctors need to open themselves to learning so that you don't make the mistake that some other people have made in time past. So, you know, fantastic, nice one from you there. So I'll say, you know, so what will you tell the younger people coming behind you? You know, what is that one thing that you feel that, okay guys, you need to be able to get this to succeed as a healthcare entrepreneur?
So truthfully, you've said it all. Medicine is a practice. Healthcare, business is a different ball game. I realized at an early stage that I couldn't continue working in the business. If once you decide you're going to set up a shop and go in this direction, then you have to, at an early stage, start working on the business. The business, you know. And regarding the issue of Japa, strangely, the way we've managed it here, I know it costs us money, but let me just give you an example. Over the last 5 years, and on a yearly basis, basically, we've sent more than 20 of our staff to go abroad for different types of training. When I say abroad, I'm not talking about Dubai. I've been to Germany, all over Europe, UK, America.
Fantastic.
They go and they come back.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, and the reason they come back, that I was just thinking to myself, because the fear initially is, if you get visas for them, they will not come back. But you see, immediately they realize that their passport has been stamped to be able to go out, and they can go willingly at any time they wish to go. It does not become a life and death issue for them anymore. So they go, they spend 2 to 3 weeks, they meet their colleagues there. What did you come to do? I came for this training. And they come back to Nigeria and they're working, they feel more confident of themselves, you know. So we've done that for and of all, close to 20 people we've sent, none has jackpot. None does not even want to jackpot, because they now saw their colleagues over there. They knew that, we are doing something right back home. You know, so the fear for a lot of people that jackpot, they think this has been given. I will not have the chance again.
Sometimes it could be myopic thinking.
I don't know.
Okay. We also understand there are a lot of problems in the country. So there is, but
no doubt.
You know, but for us, you know, when it is important for you to give back, you know, because if all of us jackpot, no one will exist to actually grow this nation. That's the truth. And you know, it's important. I find it laudable that, you know, okay, now you have about 4 or 5 branches. The 4 or 5 branches hire people. You're putting food on the table of some people. Beyond that, you are training and developing them. So expertise is going in the country. You are retaining expertise in the country. You're paying your taxes. You're doing this. The GDP. You're contributing to it. So really, it's a whole lot of things. People like you need to be celebrated. That's the truth. You know, people will remain in this country who are trying to see how they can get things better. Needs to be celebrated. And I think this is what a whole lot of us should work towards. You know, that's a very good one. So what you've told us about a lot of things that you're also planning. So, but are there any projects, you know, for St. Ives as a hospital, you know, because I also know that beyond fertility, you know, are there any other things you do beyond fertility?
No,
because people feel that, St. Ives, fantastic IVF center. So is there anything beyond?
So that's IVF. I think we marketed our IVF facility to the point that it's slightly overshadowed all the things we're doing. So the first thing about St. Ives Hospital is there are 4 major parts to us. The women part, the children part, the family part, and the fertility part. St. Ives Hospital basically is a hospital on its own. Like any other hospital, we do antenatal, we do everything. It's just that our core Our core area is women.
And that's how you started, I believe.
First, I started as a women hospital because I was a gynecologist.
Oh, wow.
Now, when the women delivered, the question for me is, how do I take care of their children? That's where the children part Pediatrics came in. When we treat the women, we treat their children, and they are happy with the service, they bring their husband. Yeah. My husband has malaria.
So you think about the family.
Yeah, exactly. So the family practice came along the line. And then finally the fertility part. The fertility is one of the areas where people know us. Like many hospitals that are doing well in Nigeria, if you look at them critically, you will see that they have a particular niche practice that stands them out. Now, I don't want to start naming hospitals. Yeah. Every hospital picks that particular niche. They might, but for St. Ives Hospital, we have your regular hospital. That families come, HMO sends patients, we treat, and the rest. It's just that fertility part of us, because of the kind of success we are having, is blown, more than. And in each of those branches we have, there's always that fertility unit section. As part of the model.
Thank you, Dr. Okewale. Thank you so much, the Radio Doctor. I think I enjoyed my time with you. Really, really enjoyed, and I believe our viewers are going to enjoy this even much better. So just to wrap up, what's your parting words to the government right now? What's your parting words to the government? What do you want to see? What changes do you want to see in the fertility section in Nigeria? How do you think government can come in to make things even better? What changes you want to see generally in the healthcare space? Because you are a voice, you are a leader. Yeah. So to the government, how things can be better, and how we can retain our brains in the country, retain people like you. So that the economy, the country can grow. Sometimes it's even difficult to get the right resource right now, the right brain, the right medical resource. That's how bad it can be. We talk about the fact that our quality of healthcare is bad. It's bad because the good ones are living every day. So how do we keep them? So what's your voice to the government?
Truthfully, the government has a lot to do. Like we said, we are running a business, whether we like it or not, as private hospitals. The things that are required of government are very basic.
Basic,
light. If we look at our figures, the amount of money we spend on, and who gets the brunt of the fees that we pay for diesel and repairs of generators, the patient eventually, as a private,
pass down to the patient.
So the things that are required of government are basic. The electricity, the power, the
infrastructure, electricity, basic things.
So the basic things. In the fertility field, more regulations, basically. More regulations
to improve quality, I believe.
To improve quality,
because that's very important.
And some people say, there are too many fertility. I believe Nigeria is still underserved in terms of fertility. If you look at the figures and compared to other countries, but for government, and then paying out of pocket is a big deal.
It's a big deal
in this present economy.
So that's what, if the government is able to do something about that, it improves accessibility. Because when people realize that for everything they have to pay out of pocket, it limits how they get the care they're supposed to get. So I think government needs to work on that.
I know they're doing a lot in the national health insurance and the rest, but
it's still not enough.
It's not. I think, and this personal now, there's nobody who buys a car in Nigeria who doesn't know he needs to do a third-party insurance. It's mandatory. Whether you want it or not. If you like buy a Rolls Royce and you don't want to insure it, at least you must get that third party.
So that is regulation, making that.
So in the healthcare sector, health insurance, I think there should be a basic minimum compulsory.
So our regulatory authorities need to do better to ensure that it's so that things can go reach everyone.
Because if it's compulsory for every employer or labor, just like in pension now, if you employ 4 people, you must pay pension. So the health insurance must be compulsory.